And welcome back to American Agenda. I'm Heather Childers. The Supreme Court wrapped up their session today, delivering verdicts in two major cases. Joining our panel now is attorney and GOP strategist Amir Benno to add his expertise. In the 6-3 ruling, the court upheld two Arizona voting provisions. Let's begin with that. A ban on ballot harvesting, where volunteers go around collecting ballots from voters. This is seen as a big blow to the Democrats, though, Amir. Plus, the other decision, they upheld a policy that throws out a ballot if it was cast in the wrong precinct. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think they were terrific decisions by the Supreme Court. They interpreted the Voting Rights Act, Section 2, which says that you can't have these results of a particular voting provision or election provision. They can't have disparate results. That affect minorities. And what they went through and they set sort of guideposts is, I think, what Justice Alito called it, on how to interpret this provision. And he said, look, you have to, you can't eliminate all inconvenience. There's always going to be an inconvenience to voting. So just because there's a mere inconvenience doesn't mean that you invalidate the statute. He said, secondly, when this law was enacted in 1982, the voting laws were so much more restrictive. And so how could it be that now that they're looser, that they would be invalidated by the statute? He said, third, there has to be a substantial disparate impact. Here, there was only half of 1% that these rules affected the voters. And then he says you have to look at all of the rules in totality. So we have drop boxes. We have a month of early voting. We have mail-in voting with no excuses. We have weekend voting. When you take all of that into the picture, the fact that there is a ban on ballot harvesting and out-of-precinct policy, those don't stop people from having access, full and open access to the ballot.
Does anyone have a question for Amir? Anyone on the panel? Carl?
No, but Heather, I would point out that this is a crushing blow to the narrative of the liberal media and the Democrats. They were saying all along that laws like the one in Arizona were inherently discriminatory and they were suppressing the vote. Well, here you have the U.S. Supreme Court, the ultimate decider on what is discriminatory, saying no, these are proper, important improvements to how we safeguard the integrity of elections. Also, I would point out that the Supreme Court would never have upheld the ban on ballot harvesting had the state of Arizona not made a compelling case that there was a risk when you allow ballot harvesting to the integrity of the election. So this is a huge blow, a huge hit to the Democrat and liberal media narrative on the importance of election integrity reforms. It's a good day to celebrate cleaning up the mess in our elections.
And another reason is that conservatives are celebrating this other big case I want to get to before we run out of time. The court sided with the conservative group Americans for Prosperity in favor of keeping their donor records secret, smacking down this California measure that was pushed by, in fact, the Vice President Kamala Harris, that conservatives feared they could be used to target them. Liberal reaction was swift to that, criticizing the court for being too conservative. Amir, just a quick word on that because we're running out of time.
Yeah, no, it's a great decision. It protects your First Amendment right to association. These people who are donating money to these conservative causes were, in fact, being targeted with violent threats. And the state was requiring these organizations to publicize these people's names. So the fact that the Supreme Court struck down that provision, it honors the First Amendment association rights and was the right decision.
Yeah. Stacy or Andrea, a question for Amir about it or a comment?
Well, Amir, I'm curious your reaction when you hear that the Supreme Court was willing to hear this case about Arizona, and they're delving into it from a standpoint of whether or not there's disparate treatment or whatever. The reality is the states have the right to write the election laws in their state. But what about, does this give us any tell that maybe SCOTUS might actually hear a case going forward about the different states that, like Pennsylvania and Georgia, that violated the Constitution by going outside the state legislatures in 2020?
Stacy, final word, quickly.
I just think it's a great day for conservatives when we see that our constitutionally guaranteed rights are protected at the Supreme Court.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. It's another busy day here on American Agenda. Andrea, Stacy, Carl, Amir, appreciate all of your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And coming up, we'll have a live update from Surfside, Florida about the deadly condo collapse from the city's mayor. He joins us live. Up next, Plus, don't forget, Eric Trump will join Greg Kelly Reports tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. I believe Eric Bolling is filling in again. This will be the Trump family's first interview since the indictment of Trump Organization CFO Alan Weisselberg. Stay with us. We'll be right back.